Andy Johnson, Minnesota State University. We are looking at writing in general, writing lesson plans in specific, and this is dependent on you teaching the writing process or the 5-step writing process. You should be teaching the process of writing just as much, if not more, than the product. Sadly, most writing instruction that occurs in schools teaches just the product, just grammar, spelling, and punctuation. They teach the 5-step paragraph or whatever that is. Body of research shows that if you want students to write better, more connected writing, and writing that has better grammar, spelling, punctuation, you teach the process of writing. Descriptive research shows when they had large groups comparing those who teach the product versus the process group scored higher in the quality of writing, grammar, and punctuation. So we teach the process. And here are the 5 steps. Step 1, the pre-writing step. This is where you teach students to generate ideas, to prepare for the draft. Such things as brainstorming or talking to your neighbor. And we'll go over these in just a minute. The second part is the draft. This is your temporary first product. You're just trying to slop the ideas on the page. Sometimes this is called a sloppy copy. It's like a potter, again, taking a blob of clay, putting it on the wheel. That's not a perfect glob of clay. And then starting to shape the pot. All right? Revision is seen again or seen again and again and again. This is where we start to shape the pot. Stay with my metaphor here. This is at the heart of the writing process. This is where you move things around, you cross things apart, you just shape that piece of writing so it says what you want it to say. This is at the heart of the writing process, as I said. Good writers do this many, many times. Editing is step number 4. This is where you attend to the mechanics of writing. This is the last step, or the 4th step, before sharing. And again, problems occur. We got problems, you see, if you try to do editing and drafting at the same time. You get what's called writing block. Nothing comes out. And then what makes writing powerful for children is sharing their ideas and seeing how their ideas come alive with other students. And we'll be going over some strategies. In your writing lesson plan, and again, never ask students to write a story about something. Write a story about a princess and a frog. Write a story about a pig and a... That's very abstract. That's outside themselves. And again, what if someone asked you, hey, you out there, write a story about a frog and a princess? What would you say? Well, there was a frog, and then this princess came, and... All right? You want them to write from within themselves. Remember, the goal of writing instruction, the goal of our writing classes, is to enable children to create meaning with print. And in our real-life adult worlds, do we write creative stories? Does someone at the bank tell us to write a story? No. Instead, we're asked to organize our ideas, to share our ideas, to create our ideas. Now, I love creative writing. There's a place for it. But we should have the type of writing where children are asked to write from within themselves, especially in the elementary grades. Most lesson plans are just the pre-writing and drafting stage, all right? Pre-write, draft, pre-write, draft. Children put that in a portfolio, as you see when we go to the writing workshop in the next video. They get to decide which one they want to bring to the revision and editing stage, because not all drafts are hot copies. Donald Graves says only about 1 in 5 of these sloppy copies should be taken, our hot topics should be taken to the revision stage. So in their portfolios, they have a whole bunch of drafts. They choose the ones that they want to work on. Parts of a writing lesson plan, 2 purpose statements, one of either. Either the students will write That's the total choice. Or the students will write about. This is where you create an open-ended prompt, such as describe something that makes you very happy. All right? You've provided the prompt, but it's open-ended so that they're able to write from within themselves. The writing time. This is where students are getting their ideas on paper. This is the sloppy copy. This should be anywhere from 5 minutes to 15 or 20 or longer for older students. In general, you want to watch students. When the energy seems to leave, when you see them looking out, see the pencil slow down, this is where you give a mile marker and you say, okay, try to get your last ideas down, about 2 more minutes, then we're going to move on. All right? Then students are able to put their writing in a draft portfolio and engage in the rest of the writing workshop. The post-writing and sharing, this is where they share. They get their ideas and they share it with another person, and we're going to go over these in just a minute. Here are some pre-writing activities, and if you get to my website and contact me, I'll be happy to send you the thinking frames for each one of these. But these are all things used to help students generate ideas. We're familiar with brainstorming. Simply turn to a neighbor. Okay, what are you going to write about today? All right, turn to your neighbor, share at least 2 ideas. When you've done that, then you can begin writing. List. What do you want to write about today? Write 3 things. And then you can begin writing. Or we're going to write about what makes us frustrated. When you've got 3 ideas listed at the top of the page, then you can begin to write. Ways to share. Turn to a neighbor, find a new friend. Everyone gets up and they read their story to each other. That's good. In small groups of 3 with primary age students, 4 to 6 as they get older. And again, this is what makes writing come to life. Whole class. Author's chair is where students sign up to share their writing. If you're doing a whole class, no more than 2 or 3 at a time. Nothing is more boring than sitting there listening to the whole class read their stories. All right, it just gets old after a while. Create class books. Children love to read what others have read. Children love to read what the students ahead of them have read in their classroom. With computer technology, you can put pictures, or they can draw pictures. You can create these wonderful classroom libraries filled with books that your students have written. Powerful, powerful, powerful. You can create class magazines, and again, use the internet machine to get pictures and power on all this stuff. If you are technically savvy, or your students, you can create websites where these stories are at. Wonderful. Or class newspapers. Here you see in a one teacher's room, they have writer's workshop stories, and they publish them. Limited only by your imagination. All right, the next one we will look at writing workshop in our next video lecture.